Kia ora. Welcome to Brew with a View. We're here in Pomahaka with Lloyd McCall from the Pomahaka Watercare Group. It's a beautiful place in this woolshed. I know this is meant to be Brew with a View, but this is what we got for a view for today because there's snow on the hills and it's persisting down with rain. But lovely place, and I hear you need the rain, eh, Lloyd?
Oh, the rain's awesome. Thanks for bringing it with you guys. Yep.
Hey, thanks for having us here.
Yeah.
Keen to yarn with you a little bit about your catchment group. Your catchment group was one of the first to establish in New Zealand, eh?
Well, I think it was one of the early ones. Yeah, we started in 2014, June 2014, I think, yes.
Amazing. And can you tell us a little bit about your journey into starting as a catchment group? Because your story's pretty fascinating. It's pretty grassroots, ground up.
Yeah, we're starting right at the beginning. So probably the first thing I might say is you don't know you've got a problem until you know you've got a problem. So and that's pretty much how we started. No one in the catchment was aware that there was a problem until one day the regional council declared that the Pomahaka was the most degraded waterway in Otago, and they wanted to put some emphasis on it, and hence a project with Land Care Trust started. And that's pretty much where it all began. And I was at a meeting, one of those meetings, and the regional council put up a graph, and it had a line which said this is good water quality, and it had bars that said this is what the water quality tests that we're getting are, and two of those bars were measurements on tributaries that go through our farm at Kelso. And so and I just sat there with my mouth open and thought, holy Tamaragatraw, this isn't so good.
That must have been pretty confronting for you as a farmer, especially like typically when we're farming, we take a great pride in our work, eh? And you typically think, hey, we're doing a good job. I'm farming really well. I'm farming really consciously, but to still have that water quality coming off, that must have been quite a confronting thing.
And you're exactly right, because you do what you think you're doing right all the time. And the water quality is not something you can go and see. You can't go and say, oh, crikey, that water looks bad. Because it's not on your agenda, but then you get this picture put in front of you and it's like, holy heck, no one can fix this. No one can fix this are the people on the land. It's too big for, you can't regulate it. You've got to have it. It's got to come from within the person. So that's where we started. And so we went home from that meeting, and we had a meeting at the pub, 6 of us. And from there we drew up our plan, and that's our plan today. And the first thing we did was put the same picture in the local newspaper and say, we're having a meeting next Monday or whatever day it was, come along, we got a problem, we need to fix it. And then I took the phone off the hook. But surprisingly, the phone didn't ring, and there was like 60 or 70 people turned up at the meeting, and off we went. The farmers put in some money, and we started our journey we're on today.
Incredible. So you guys have got over 50% buy-in from your farmers in this catchment, hey?
Oh, we have. So when we were doing our numbers, we got like 350 or 60 farmers in the catchment, and we got 180 are paid up members of the group.
Amazing. So what are some of the things? You're taking us for a bit of a walk today. It's been pretty incredible to see what you guys are doing. Most of it seems to be around slowing down water flow. So you've got a series of bunds, you've got you're recreating the natural zigzags in waterways, you're doing riparian plantings.
Oh, that's right. I think the first thing we had to do was find out what's happening with our waterway, because we didn't actually believe the regional council. But we put out like 30 different testing sites and worked out what's wrong. And because that's our numbers, we started to take ownership of it. And then what we found from those testing sites, it's not just the water quality, it's not just a straight line getting worse as it goes down. It's bumpy. So it comes and goes. So, and then we found from that water testing, probably the number one problem is sediment movement. Right. Because if you've got sediment movement, you get E. coli movement, and the two sort of go together. So we started working out ways to slow the sediment down. And that's where we come into this bunding and riparian planting and trying to promote re-establishment of wetlands and that sort of thing.
Amazing.
Because we found out what our problem was, and then we're setting about fixing it. It's the farmers doing this.
Yeah, and you guys have a real culture down here, which is amazing, of not creating one big project or one big bund or mechanism to slow down that water. You believe in slowing them down right up in the heads of the catchment, trapping as much sediment across small projects so that you're not getting, you reckon small projects in the headwaters.
So a lot of small projects end up with big results.
Right.
So you get a big project ends up with a small result because you your big projects only in one small area of your catchment. If you get everybody doing lots of little things, it all multiplies. And then it starts saying you've got to stop the water getting dirty before it gets into the bigger waterways. Because once it gets into the bigger waterways, you can't really affect it to the same extent. So you clean it before it becomes a problem.
And you're not just getting a result in the big waterways as a result of having small catchments, you're getting some results in those upper catchments, those smaller waterways as well.
The results are flowing down and concertinating into the bigger waterways. Yeah. And it's all about, it all comes down to the farmers buying into it and changing their, being aware that there's an issue, then changing their farming practices, because all of a sudden they've got a target, they've taken ownership of it.
That's quite an amazing story. You know, sit down in the pub, 60 or 70 farmers turn up. You could create a plan in the pub, and it's really grassroots and farmer led. The
real miles on the ground is when we went back to our tributary meetings, which is meetings of 10 or 15 people in wool sheets just like this, and we sit down as a group of people like-minded on the same waterway, and then we work out, you know, what are we doing, what can we do, and how are we progressing. And that's where we get our big mileage. Lots of little meetings, not the big meetings, and not the real big projects.
And with some really tangible results. You're telling me before, you guys are measuring runoff that's on farm and where it comes off farm, and you're getting results up to 90% reductions in E. coli through some of your projects. You're seeing 60% reductions in nitrate coming off farm through some of your smaller projects, which at a tributary level must really put a lot of motivation into your farmers.
Yeah, well, it's awesome. And you see, it's just, once again, it's a lot of people doing little things, getting big gains. And it doesn't have to be expensive, because it's got to be affordable within your farm business, and it's got to be manageable. So we basically got the farmers to put in things that they thought would work, and we'd talk with them, and the farmer instigated, and they work it, and then we measure it. And they all work.
Thanks heaps for sharing your insights with us, Lloyd. It's amazing going for a wander around here and checking out what you guys are doing. It's really pragmatic, practical solutions that are getting big changes on farm. So thank you for having us.
Well, that's awesome. We do enjoy sharing our story, and wish everybody well.